Hi, everyone. I am so happy to be with you tonight. We have Jason and Rachel. It's been a long time since we've seen you guys. I'm Heather, if you don't know who I am. I am the co-founder and the board president of the Realm of Caring. And I know you watched the documentaries. They've been doing this whole, Charlotte's Web put out essentially like a film festival. That's like the best way to describe it, is this film festival. So they've been releasing these videos this last month. And so we're the closer. We're the last video, the last nonprofit that they're featuring as a part of their, they do a lot around corporate social responsibility. So we're really thankful that they were telling these really powerful stories and that they thought that we should be included. So, so thank you for being with us. I'd love to know where you guys are joining us from. So please give us some hearts so we know that you can hear us okay. Some thumbs up, make sure you guys can hear us, and tell us where you're from. That would be really, really wonderful. And we're gonna dive right in. We had some questions submitted in advance, and we really want you to put your questions in as well. This is the first little documentary that has been done on Realm of Caring, so we're pretty excited about it. I want to talk a little bit about, for those of you who aren't aware of our origin story, how we were founded, and it's sort of what we, like the DNA, right? What we were built on, and how we were created. So I'll be as brief as I can. I am one of two co-founders. Paige Figgy, Charlotte's mom, is our other co-founder. And I say Realm of Caring started in February of 2012 when Charlotte took her first dose of CBD back then. And Zakai followed that up in July of 2012. So we've been, in a few months, it will be 9 years that we've been at this. It's pretty incredible, isn't it?
Crazy. That seems so crazy.
I know. And Rachel, you were around in the beginning. So you guys came, when did you come?
2013. So that fall, that first influx of everyone moving to Colorado.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And Jason, when did you get involved with Realm of Caring? A little after, right?
Yeah, I think 2014, 2015, around there.
That's still early. That still makes you straight up OG veteran. That's, so that was early. So in the beginning, what I loved about the organization is still what I love about the organization, is just how volunteer driven we were, and we still are. We ran the whole organization with just a bunch of volunteers. We had at one point 30 moms and dads manning the phones, and it rang through like on a grasshopper phone number, like 1-888 Realm of Caring. I don't even remember what the number was, and it would blast out to everyone. And I used to be in the restaurant business, and so I made schedules, where we'd have coverage during all the times, and a mom would hop on like just during nap time, or like right after she'd get kiddo off to school or something. And so we just made sure we had coverage, and that blasted out to everyone, and whoever picked up the phone answered the call. And it was all about, where do I get the stuff? Like, how do I move? Because everyone had to relocate, which, we've been doing this a long time. And so we don't think about how difficult that is, and how profound that is, that, your zip code, and it still does, dictates whether you can help your loved one. It's just sort of crazy. And so you were one of those families, right, Rachel? Where'd you guys come from?
So we were in East Tennessee at the time, and I remember seeing, it was actually like a Washington Post story of yours, Heather, and I think Emily Rollins. And I remember like, dude.
Did they call it like Pot for Tots? Was that when they were on that thing?
No, but we had an interview. Our very first interview was Pot for Tots. And I was like, oh, look at that.
Weren't you like Can we get more create? Like, really, do we have to sensationalize the whole? It was,
and of course, then I got comments of like, who are her parents, Cheech and Chong? And I'm like, actually, I'm her parent. And then finally I was like, okay, don't read all the comments because you don't want to hear what all these nasty people have to say about you.
yes, that was like such a great lesson. And it's like, don't read the comments. This is not what, we're not here for approval. We're saving our kids. Get out of our way. That was just kind of, what it was all about. And we grew really quickly. We grew from, 4 families to 400 to, we were probably about 400 when you came, Rachel. And then the next year was like 4,000. And then, a few years later, we're 40,000. And it was just like, what is going on? And now we serve about 65,000 families and are connected to over 100,000 and have about 2,000 doctors in our network, medical professionals in our network, and started conducting research very early on. It was really sad to me that we didn't have a roadmap of where to go. That Paige had to have this little mini clinical trial with an N of 1, like her kid, just like figuring it out. And she just told me what she did. And so I just kind of did that. And that's kind of what we told other people.
And then we confer with each other and be like, oh, I noticed this response. Oh, I noticed that. Oh, maybe I should back off. Oh, maybe.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Someone was like kind of referring to it as like the Dallas Buyers Club. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but I was like, but yeah, maybe. Like we were just trying to figure it out. And Gail Rand, I love you. She's joined us, and she's joining from Maryland. Mary Friedenberg is with us. We love us some Mary and the Friedenbergs. Say hi to Mark. Brent Ball, we know Brent. He's sending his love. I miss you, Brent. I hope you're doing well. I know you had a rough weekend recently. Sending our love. Laura from Richmond, Virginia. Thank you guys. I'm so happy everyone's joining us. Thank you so much. And thank you for still caring about us. And thank you for still checking in and being a part of our community. I mean, a lot of you guys have been around a really long time. And I think that just speaks to the love that we have within our community, and also just how powerful this community is. And I'm curious as if you guys have some thoughts, either Jason or Rachel, about how this movement, I don't know if it's called that, I don't know what to call it, but how did it become so powerful?
Yeah, even I think when Jeremy shot for the documentary, it was one of those things of trying to, and he captured that of me being like, there's not just one word that can articulate what the realm of caring is. And I think if I had to pick one, I would probably say community is what we really started as. Like it was that family term that we referred to, that leaning on each other, because we didn't know what we're doing. We're just trying to save our kids. Like we're all desperate. We're all like have nothing else left. And we're like, what do we do? And so I think like community was a big part of it, especially really at that beginning of like, we're relocating. We don't know where to live. We don't know resources, trying to figure all those things out. And as it's grown, it has grown so much bigger to something that's like, oh, like this is so much bigger than us. People all over the country now have access, and what we can do and things like that. I just think it's hard to wrap our minds around. And when we were there in that moment, it was really hard to wrap our minds around. And now looking back, we kind of forget almost, in a sense.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting too when you're asked to recall it. So you guys know the process. Jeremy Seifert was the director, so he sort of comes in and he had like 3 days to get all this footage. So he's like back to back to back, and several like really long days, and then he'll come back at night or something like this. And you don't generally think about your entire story or the entire story of Realm of Caring like all at once like that. It's like a protection thing for me anyway. At least I don't. It's like I recall moments and thoughts, but you don't go like through the whole, okay, seizures started at 6 months and at 4 months rather, and at 6 months it hit the fan. And you're just like, you don't usually recall all of that. So it's really, it's like really draining, and but it's good. It's really cathartic. And yeah, it did definitely take on a life of its own. It just became a force. And I think it's in great part to people like you, like Jason, who cares so much about this community, and Rachel, you, and people that are, you know, just like us, you know, families who they couldn't move, and you know, they needed to change the law where they lived because they weren't able to do that. A very small percentage were able to relocate. And so, you know, I think we owe it all and stand on the shoulders, and this industry, frankly, stands on the shoulders of these families. Like, this entire industry was birthed on the shoulders of really these families, and especially these kids originally. So,
and you know what, Heather, right there, you said it all. That to me is the reason why this organization means so much to me, is because you are the families, you and Rachel, you are the families that are here right now, and the other families. When you see someone that's going through so much and the pain is real, yet they found something that they can be optimistic about that actually works, that's something that, you know, you can't fake. That optimism that's there, regardless of the situation around you, because you are part of something that's bigger, because something is available that actually works. I mean, from that moment, I was floored. I mean, you guys could ask me to jump off a bridge if you wanted to, and I would have did it. Because I mean, it really is something to see. You know, you want to be around people that want to be better, but to be around people that have gone through some things, and especially as a parent, I can only imagine, and to be able to get through that, it's something that, you know, you don't see that much nowadays, and it's a symbol of strength.
It's humbling as a parent for sure, but it almost gives a level of purpose to all the pain and suffering that we've gone through. Like that, like there is something more. And so, like, yes, I'm going through this, and yes, it sucks, but if we can help others, then like it lightens that load just a little bit more, you know. I think
I agree more.
Yeah, I think about at the beginning too, how there were families that couldn't move, and like whatever circumstance they couldn't. We were in a place where we're like, pack everything up, we're gone. Like, let's go. And I remember telling people, we're going to do it legally, and we're going to be as loud as we possibly can when we do it, so that not everyone has to be in our shoes, because that's an upheaval to pack up and move. So
yeah. And were you a part of a pretty conservative community?
So yeah, so Sean likes to tell it. Our church back in East Tennessee, so Bible Belt, they kind of had a little, not a conference, but they kind of talked about it a little bit of like, what are these Selmeskis doing? Like, but they really like almost gave us their complete blessing of just saying, you know, we know we've walked this journey with you and Maggie. We've seen what you've tried to do. We've seen that you don't have any options. We know that your hands are tied right now, and what do you got to lose at this point? And kind of just gave us a blessing. But even thinking about the time 7-8 years ago, so different, the perceptions versus now everyone's like, oh yeah, my cousin's kid has seizures and they use cannabis too, or like it comes up everywhere. And then it was so edgy, I would say.
It really was. Yeah, it really was. It was not accepted at all. Those comments, you know, how people thought about it, how they sensationalized it, you know, it's just, yeah, it was really tough. I think that it took a lot of heart for all of the families who were open with their journey, because it's so hard to do that anyway. It's so hard to just be vulnerable and transparent and all of that, and it's just hard anyway. And then you put this on top of it, and I always felt like, you know, like the stigma that we already face with when you have someone with special needs. or significant needs. And then this other stigma on top of that, it was just like, man, this is tough. And I don't think though, I never really, like in the middle of it, never thought that. Like I was never been like a woe is me. I don't know any of us that are like that. You know what I mean? That need like this extra, I don't know, we don't need any, empathy is wonderful. Understanding is great. You know, we don't want to be pitied.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in so many ways, there's so many gifts. You said something so powerful. You said that, you know, you really take each day and see it as a treasure.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many people zooming through this life at Mach 2 with their hair on fire, and they don't see every day as a treasure, I'll tell you that, or their children as a treasure. And so a lot of benefits to what is also in a lot of ways hard, right? And heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm. I say that like my parenting is so different. I parent my other boys because I know what we could not have, you know, and so it changes your perspective as a parent of what and daily your life. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, we're not guaranteed. And when I talk to other parents a lot of times too, I said, I just have it in my face. Nobody's guaranteed another day with their kid. Like any kid could be gone tomorrow. I just have it in my face that that's the reality of what we deal with.
Yeah.
And that reality, that hard piece that Sean and I've wrestled with, that we likely will still bury our daughter. Like that's a reality of something we deal with, but it's in my face. So I have to deal with it. Whereas other parents, they can just assume that you are going to get tomorrow with your kid. And
Yeah.
that's not guaranteed.
Yeah. You're right about that. That's for sure. So Jeremy Seifert is the director, and he's not a stranger to controversial topics. He's won a lot of awards and done a lot of documentarian work that is really impressive. And there is a director's talk back on the Charlotte's Web Facebook page tomorrow night at 5:30 Mountain Time. So if you guys want to tune in for that, you can actually ask questions to the director. And that would be great. And also Matt Lindsay's going to be facilitating that. And he has been involved since the very beginning, if you guys remember Matt. And he's like their corporate social responsibility director. So I really encourage everyone to tune in to Charlotte's Web tomorrow at 5:30 and check all of that out. But did you guys feel like Jeremy really captured your story?
Yeah. Go ahead, Jason.
No, yeah, I would say so. I mean, he's excellent at what he does. I mean, I don't think that, it could have been told any other way, in all actuality, it's not even about me. It's really about the parents, just to see that strength again, it means a lot, but, from my perspective, I believe he told the story extremely well.
Yeah. I was told to stick to 3 to 5 minutes. Did you see how long that it's like? Yeah. So thanks everyone who gave 13 minutes of theirs, like almost 13 minutes. I love it. He couldn't cut it down. I think he did a good job as well. I really do. It's so hard to get it all and to capture it all. And especially something that's so, it's not abstract, but it's a lot. So to get it succinct, I thought good job.
I'd agree. And I think, we've done different interviews at different times. So we've had different crews in and out. And we so enjoyed working with Jeremy and Jacob. Like they were so great. And really to have somebody come into your home and you have a child with special needs and even for you, Jason, to be vulnerable with things too, like that's a lot to welcome somebody into your home and allow them to be in those raw moments with you. And so we felt super comfortable, and I think they just did a great job capturing. It was just a joy to work with him too. Like,
yeah. He sort of came in and out. And so after he left your place, Rachel, he came over to mine, and he just needed a moment, to just sort of process. And he was just like, And he just fell in love with Maggie, as we all do. And I think because we're living it every day, you know, and you're living it every day, we don't realize what an effect it can be for other people to be able to have a glimpse and for us to share our lives with them. So that's, I think, so important. And you said something, you know, Jason's vulnerability. I just wanted to comment on that and to thank you for that. And it's very hard for anyone, but especially, you know, a veteran to be vulnerable and to say, you know, I came home and I was having issues. And I think that there are a lot of veterans who are coming home and they're struggling and they need advocates, not stigma. And I think, you know, is there anything that you're working on for veterans to help alleviate that or to make aware that there are other options for them?
Working with you in every chance I get to speak to a veteran to tell them about what their individual choices are, I take that chance. A lot of veterans, I'm a combat veteran and I'll leave it there, but we're subjected to burn pits, we're subjected to all types of vaccinations that the normal citizen won't get. I mean, these impact our organs. And so we have a choice to make about what works for us and what doesn't work for us. And I believe that we should have dignity in that choice and that we should make it full well knowing about the impact it will have on our bodies and our family members and try to erase the stigma, like you said, as best as possible. But it's going to take some champions to do that. And it's going to take each and every one of us as veterans to stand up and talk about what works and what doesn't work. And I know a bunch of pills, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think that it's an act of, it's its own act of bravery. So I thank you for joining us and for being so supportive of Realm of Caring over the years. You know, also Sean was fabulous. It had been a while. I think after we did the interview, we're like, we haven't interviewed in a while. So I know he was pretty, you know, I think that's good. Hi. Come say hi to everybody on Facebook. Hi. Come say hi real quick. Everybody, we're actually talking about you. Do you want to come say hello?
Hey, Zakai.
He said, I'm good. So cool. So yeah, like life happens, you guys. We're at home and life is going on here. I was hoping he'd come peek his head in. So yeah, I think that now that I've totally lost my train of thought.
Okay, we hadn't done interviews for a while either. And like, it's been a long time. So we were like blubbering, both of us.
Me
like,
too.
Oh,
me too. And I was like, I don't think I'm getting the point across. I don't think I'm getting what I want to say across. This is so great. But you know, Sean, he said the turning point is when he felt like, you know, there was this, it was a fact, he said, that you guys could do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's such an important message. And one of the things that is so one of our foundations at Realm of Caring is this empowerment. And I want to talk a little bit about that, about how that feels to know that there is something that you can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think early on too, I remember the statistic, and it came from you, or it's not from you, but you're the one that I heard it from originally, Heather, was that like the statistics of going down, the more pharmaceuticals you've tried and getting seizure control, and what like after 4, you have like 0.0 something, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like less than 1% that, and like the next pharmaceutical, it doesn't matter, pick it out of hat, is gonna work. It's like,
yeah.
Statistically, odds are pretty stacked against you.
So once you're at that point, you're like, oh, we've got nothing. Like really, like odds are against us that we're going to find anything that's going to stop these seizures. And even when I tell our story, she was having over 500 seizures a day. And like, she didn't move. Like, that's crazy to me. I remember holding her and any movement she made was a seizure. That's beyond, like, even thinking back, it seems I must have blocked it out. I blocked some of it out, I think.
Yeah.
But that knowing like there is something. And I think for Sean, especially, like wanting to fix our daughter, wanting to like provide a solution. Like he's the dad, he's the provider. He wants to be able to help his little girl. And obviously I do too. But for him, especially, it was like, there's something out there that might do something, and I remember even after the first dose of her going to the bathroom, and in the special needs world of GI issues, like, if your kid's going to the bathroom, that's amazing. And for us, we're like, I don't care if it ever touches her seizures. If we're getting daily bowel movements, that's worth it for us, so anything we could do to help benefit her quality of life was just that there was a glimmer of hope. And granted, we thought, oh, Maggie's gonna be walking and talking. Like, that's what we had our hearts set on, is that Maggie's gonna be walking and talking, and we're just gonna start this and it's gonna be great. And, we're not there, but the quality of life she's had has been tremendous. And what she's been able to do now is tremendous. So
Yeah, I think that's so important. And what our world revolves around is that quality of life piece. And that looks different for everyone. And so everyone decides what is going to look like success for them. And it looks very different for everybody. So I'm really glad you mentioned that as well. So we have a few questions that came in.
Yeah.
So Lisa, hey, what's up? Christy Fontenot's joined us as well. And we had a question from Laura about, I think we've got a few of these questions. So I'll ask them, and then I'll make sure that you guys have the resources. So Laura was asking about treatment for extreme anxiety in a child. And she's like, I'm done with the pharmas. So I think that we want to make sure that we stress, like, we're not an anti-pharma organization, right? There's cases where that works. We're talking about, and usually most people are adding this to their treatment their doctor's already prescribed. On our registry, we just recently published some research, and in our registry, most people are using this kind of at the end of the line, as Sean had said, last ditch effort, he had said. Most people are using it like that, and most people are adding it on, and then they're able to lower their pharmas a little bit. But in regards to anxiety and cannabinoids, there's a lot of really unique mechanisms of action with different cannabinoids and your serotonin receptors. And you really want to get in touch with our care team. So we have a call center. We've always had one. We will always have one in some way, a way to answer all of your questions. And so for Laura, I would ask that you get in touch. You can go to our website, realmofcaring.org. You do need to create, I think it's called Register. We just launched our new website. I think it's called Register, and then you can email us or give us a phone call or email. So it's info@realmofcaring.org. Website's realmofcaring.org. You can call us at 719-347-5400. And the care team will be happy to get you some additional data and research. And then also Tammy was talking about her son that has pandas and anxiety and verbal tics. And so she's wondering if we can set up a Zoom to meet with a group of families. And thank you for that. Sasha is our education director at Realm of Caring. She's also the one behind the screen here. So I'm not doing any of this electronic stuff. I don't do that. So Sasha would be really happy to do that. We do care for the care, the 2 meetings a month where we're always looking for topics. So again, email us and we'll be sure to connect you all.
I see one higher up. Did you see, how did Realm of Caring get its name?
Yes, and so Gail asked how Realm of Caring got its name. And so Realm of Caring was actually, when we first started, we actually had a fiscal sponsorship agreement with another nonprofit called Realm of Caring. And we became Realm of Caring Foundation when we got our own 501c3. So we adopted the name from a great organization that was essentially a fiscal sponsorships when they lend you the EIN number so you can start raising some money. And so we just thought it really fit, you know, that that this is really, we would always joke within the team internally that we care a lot, and we do, like, to the point of like, that's the only thing that keeps me up at night, you know, is figuring out how to reach this community and how to make sure we're meeting that need, and how can we help people. And so yeah, that's how we got the name Realm of Caring. So that's a great question. Let's see. Kelly asks about, are there many clients being helped with autism? Yes, autism is the second highest population we serve in our pediatric clients, and it's a top 10 in adults. So we do serve a really large population that are dealing with autism. That's great. And thank you. Community Connect is what we do very frequently at Realm of Caring. And so we'll be sure to get some more information on pandas and get that out there. So thank you for that. Super. So let's see here. We've got a few more minutes, and we're kind of running out of time, but I did want to just mention that we definitely began, as we've described many times over and over throughout the years, that we began as sort of a band of what I refer to as like end of earthers. So not flat earthers, but end of earthers, as in we would go to the end of the earth to help our kids, our loved ones. Like, what else are you going to do? And we started that way, and we were founded by a couple of end of earthers. And I want to say too that our demographics have changed quite a bit, and that we don't just serve sick and dying people anymore. We have a really large population. We have a growing population of older adults, and chronic pain is actually the #1 reason why they're getting in touch. And during what we've been through this last year, a lot of people are reaching out who are dealing with anxiety or even depression through these times. And so we have a lot of information, a lot of data, because we've been talking to people for over 2 million minutes on the phone over the years. So we've been at it a while. And so no matter what you're dealing with, I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to help you. And just how important it is for you all to tell your friends and family about Realm of Caring as well, because that's the #1 reason why people get to us, is just a referral, just friends and family talking about us and how important that is. And Rachel, you heard it through a story. I heard it because our hospice counselor told me a story.
Mm-hmm.
It's how we're wired. It's how we're used to getting information as humans, is through story. So that's why I think it's so important that we continue to tell our story. It's a way to make meaning of what we've been through, as Rachel has said, and what I always say. This whole project is self-serving. It's like, just so I didn't go crazy, pretty much. So thank you guys for that. And I will. Anything else you guys want to mention or talk about?
I think it's really interesting that you did bring up that end of earthers, because I even had family members that, like, they watched us do the journey, and I kept saying, hey, this could help you. This could really help you too. Like, I'm seeing what's happening here. And I think we've had that mentality that it's like last ditch effort, but it doesn't have to be last ditch effort. Like, having something in your bag of tricks that can help, like if it does something. And so I've had family members that have benefited tremendously. And anxiety is a big one of those that's huge. And so I think that's a big point to bring up too, that it's not an end of the earth thing at this point.
And definitely coming to this earlier. And that's really when I felt like I wanted to go around chest bumping the whole team, was when we started to get these stories. Zakai was almost 10, so a decade, right? And 17 pharmaceuticals, embarrassingly. And can you recover from that a little bit? And he has, definitely, without a doubt. However, he will need care and help for the rest of his life. Can we reach people earlier on? I think this is going to be really interesting, and we see that. You know, I'm thinking of Melody, little girl with Aicardi, who if you know Aicardi syndrome, you know, they do not walk usually or talk, and they have feeding tubes and lots of seizures. And she's like, knows more sight words than Zakai. And it was like Depakote and then like CBD after that. So it was, right, people, they're coming to this sooner, and it's literally changing their outcomes. You know, their life outcome is so different, and that's exciting. And that's why this work is kind of like a potato chip. It's why you can't stop. It's like, because it's so exciting to see that happen. Mm-hmm. So anything else you guys want to talk about? I have some closing sentiments, but any more questions from you guys out there? Anything else we might want to mention?
I think it's been a fun journey, and I think it's fun to continue to see the impact. I mean, it's exciting to see what's continuing to come down the pike.
And I wouldn't want to walk it with anyone else. So thank you, Rachel, for being so supportive of the foundation for so long, and Sean and everyone, the kids, everyone. And same with you, Jason. I feel like you've got, you know, I've got some folks to hold hands with along the path, and I'm so thankful for that. And we all do, everyone tuning in, you do too. You're not alone. We're here with you. So I closed with, or they closed with, that this is like Realm of Caring is essentially community. That is what it's always been about. And it's what everything revolves around. It doesn't have much to do with the plant. Actually, this is really seriously about community. So I do want to tell you a few things that we're up to now. And thank you all for the gift of your attention. I think it's the greatest attribute you can give, is your attention. Time is limited, and to pay attention to something is really means a lot. So thank you for that. And I want to also thank everyone for their continued support of the Realm of Caring in every way that you support us, whether that be financially, whether that's of your time and your attention. As I've mentioned, please continue to reach out. We are really actively trying to reconnect and learn what the community needs. So continue, do that. We're going to keep doing that as well. Send your friends and family, as I mentioned earlier. And there is Giving Tuesday on December 1st. So we're about a month away from that. Wanted to raise your awareness around Giving Tuesday. We hope that you will consider that for Realm of Caring. We're still that traditional nonprofit that relies on contributions to stay afloat and to provide all of our services for free. And then the last thing is our research registry, which we talked a little bit about in the film. And we're out of time tonight, but everyone can participate in research. It's very simple. It takes about 30 minutes of your time, 30 to, I guess it is about 30 minutes now that we're on version 2. So probably 20 to 30 minutes, depending on what you have going on with you. And it's only every 3 months. And it's whether you're using cannabis or not. And it is absolutely how we get the insights of how we educate from the call center. It's how when someone calls in and says, I'm dealing with pandas, what do I do here? That's how we're able to say, okay, we've got 43 people. This is the average dose that they're taking, or whatever it is, right? Whatever the statistics are. And so that research registry is a wonderful way for you to pay it forward, so that the next person behind you does not have to start at square one. So I really hope that you will hit our website, click the research, and get involved in that. And yeah, that's all I've got. You guys are wonderful for joining us. Thank you guys. Thank you, Rachel and Jason, for being here with me and for telling your story, the documentary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time. We'll see you soon.